So just to highlight on the mandate, it is to deepen regional integration and also strengthen the capacities of member states to achieve inclusive industrialization with a goal to reducing poverty and also inequality in Southern Africa. So our focus, our work is more around inclusive industrialization and also the role that regional integration play into this. And just to highlight the fact that member states indeed are doing quite a lot to ensure that there is diversification of the energy mix. And just to highlight a few examples of recent and ongoing renewable energy projects that your Secretariat is trying to track what member states are doing. So a lot of initiatives in all the 11 member states. For example, just to highlight about Zambia, what they are doing, they constructed already an operational plant, solar plant, 100 megawatts, for example. Another one, the commission the construction was just commissioned, another 100 megawatts in another location. And we can see all these across the sub-region about what member states are doing in responding to the energy deficit that we are experiencing. Now, just to highlight specific things that the office has been doing in the 3-4 areas that we talked about. The first area is supporting member states to deepen the policy environment for inclusive industrialization. Here, there are a couple of interventions that we've supported. For example, supporting Lesotho and Namibia to develop a common automotive policy framework. We also provided technical support to the government of Malawi, developing the special economic zones regulations. These were also validated mid-year around April. And here it is aimed at supporting the country to implement the key elements of its national industrial policy and also to operationalize its Special Economic Zone Act. There's also engagement that is ongoing, and even as we speak, with regard to supporting the Botswana beef value chain. Here, a feasibility study is planned and engagement is ongoing. We've managed to secure some funding that can go to that feasibility study.
As outlined on the previous slide, the primary objective are to first assess the impact of the climate change on trade, and we'll tracking the progress on the international climate change commitments. Lastly, to identify the policy priorities and recommendations to strengthen resilience and sustainable trade. Specifically, with this report, we seek to raise awareness of the economic and trade impacts of climate change to promote the integration of the climate consideration into trade policy through robust interministerial cooperation. We also aim to encourage the member states to submit a third generation of the NDCs and national adaptation plans. Lastly, this study comes at a pivotal moment as the region prepares for COP30 in Brazil next month. So we hope it serves as a pre-discussion ahead of the COP30, highlighting the Southern Africa's progress and challenges in linking climate commitments with economic transformation and resilient trade.
The data indicates that trade is highly concentrated in raw materials. These are mainly gold, platinum, diamonds, as well as energy commodities, that's mineral oils and fuels. And the major export destination for SADC member states in this case include People's Republic of China, India, and the United States of America. As you can see, it's actually highlighting a dependency on extra African markets, which means it remains high. The structure of the trade remains a bit narrow, driven by raw or semi-finished products rather than value-added products. Kenya is one of your key markets when it comes to SADC exports to the rest of Africa. But still more for these exports, you still see exports in mineral oils, precious stones, like in extractives to some extent. For intra-SADC exports, they're standing at somewhere around $49 billion. That's just an average for 2022 and 2024. still more dominated by the extractive sector. That's for intrastatic exports.
The report aims to provide member states with a brief overview of recent of social and economic conditions. More importantly, it is to invite discussion on emerging social and economic issues in the sub-region, provide tentative policy advice on selected developmental issues, as well as request member states to provide us with updated information. Unfortunately, all our member states in the office did not achieve the 7% real GDP growth that is normally required to address poverty and achieve some sort of inclusive growth and sustainable development. Only 4 countries, Angola, Eswatini, Mauritius, Zambia, achieved a modest growth of 4%, but others really did achieve far less than that. Angola, for example, grew because of agriculture, fisheries, diamond. And Eswatini, I think the construction at Mbakeni Dam, I think it helped the country a little bit. Mauritius, there is lots of construction there taking place, so they did very well. Surprisingly, Zambia, despite the load shedding, as we call it there, energy challenges, they still grew. We think that maybe despite the energy deficit, the government prioritized the productive sectors such as mining to make sure that production still moves ahead. So I would invite member states maybe to elaborate on this. Industrialization, and just to mention here that the minerals and agriculture remain anchors for the member states in terms of the industrialization effort. And now there's a rush to exploit our abundant critical energy transition minerals. And then that is when now we needed to have some cool heads about how now we manage this rush to our shores to exploit these. I think we can debate that, and how do we manage this rather than to allow everyone to come and dig in their own terms all our resources, so that again we suffer the same end as in previous episodes.